What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur Hour TV for another video on the second channel for Amateur Hour. On this channel, I like to go through additional NBA-related topics, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors, which I just don't have enough time to go through on the main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, with 11,000 subscribers. So instead, we do so here on Amateur Hour TV, this channel that just hit 1,000 subscribers. We're on a road to 2,000. If you find yourself enjoying this video, consider subscribing to help us get to that next milestone, and also be sure to drop a like to give that extra little bit of support to the channel. But the video in question today, as you saw from the title, as you saw from the thumbnail, very interesting development that we saw at the Rico Hines private runs, all the tape that was from that event. And you know, there's some great footage there, great footage of Scottie Barnes playing really well there. I really liked what I saw from Ron Harper Jr. At the end of the day, this is just kind of like off-season kind of pickup ball. This doesn't really mean a lot, but still interesting to see. I enjoyed watching a lot of the footage, as I'm sure a lot of you did as well. And a lot of questions started to arise from this video because there was a really interesting development as it comes to, you know, all the Raptors players attending this event, all the Raptors players playing at this event. I mean, I think it's a great job of the Raptors, first of all, to hire Rico Hines here, bring him in as a development coach, and you can obviously see all the relationships he has with lots of great NBA players. I think a lot of teams very recently, like you can look at the New York Knicks as well, in their pursuit of Brunson, maybe in their pursuit of Donovan Mitchell, bringing in people that have relationships with these players, because that just incentivizes them a little bit more to go there in free agency. Like maybe there's a tiebreaker between two teams that just kind of puts you over the top. So that's great to see. It's also great to see a ton of Raptors players there. They actually made two Raptors teams from the video that I watched. But one of the players that a lot of questions have been kind of arising from was a former 6th overall pick in the NBA draft. And I'm just trying to see what year it was because I forgot to check that beforehand. But this player was drafted 6th overall in 2019, about to enter the final year of his rookie contract. And let's just take a look here at the video. And right here, this is 6th overall pick in 2019, Jarrett Culver, wearing, maybe not very clearly, but he's wearing Raptors gear. There were a lot of questions about this because Jarrett Culver was seen wearing Raptors gear at this event. Now, to be fair, he was on the Raptors teams for this specific event. There was like 2 Raptors teams, as they called them, so maybe that's part of it. But Jarrett Culver, a member of the Memphis Grizzlies, wearing Raptors gear. That was a little bit interesting. Does this kind of point towards Jarrett Culver potentially being the next signing for the Toronto Raptors? That is what everybody wants to know here. And Jarrett Culver, let's kind of talk a little bit about who Jarrett Culver is, what sort of a player he is, why maybe you haven't heard of him, even though he was a 6th overall pick. And then we're going to try to decide and break down, you know, what this means. Jarrett Culver wearing all this Raptors gear, and that's obviously very interesting. So Jarrett Culver, like I said, drafted 6th overall in 2019. He was by the Minnesota Timberwolves. They do not have a great history of drafting. They eventually moved him on, along with Juancho Hernangomez, another name Raptors fans know, in a trade involving Patrick Beverley. So the Grizzlies sent Patrick Beverley to the Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies got Jarrett Culver, you know, maybe a player that they wanted to see they could get anything out of his development, and Juancho Hernangomez, a little bit of a depth piece. He actually was decent for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, now he plays for the Toronto Raptors, but I guess the Timberwolves, I mean, Patrick Beverley was decent there in that season. He actually helped them win an NBA championship, as you saw from his celebrations when they won the play-in game. No, he just won the play-in game, and obviously Patrick Beverley went kind of stupid, kind of crazy, if you saw that video. But nonetheless, that's the valuation Jarrett Culver has. He got traded along with Juancho Hernangomez for Patrick Beverley, a fine player, but not somebody you would expect to get in a trade involving a 6th overall pick, because this player, I mean, there's not a lot that he's done in his NBA career so far. 3 years in, of course. If you go down to his stats, he just doesn't get many minutes because he just doesn't offer a ton on the floor. Was given a big opportunity in his rookie season. Didn't really deliver. 40% from the field, 30% from 3, 9.2 points. And his role has just diminished. And the last season with the Memphis Grizzlies, who were a good team, he shot 38%, 25% from 3, and only 3.5 points per game. Pretty ugly stat lines. But he did go 6'6" overall. And the reason he did that, I think largely, Texas Tech went on a big run in 2018-19 in NCAA tournament in March Madness. If I'm not mistaken, they got to the national championship game and lost to Virginia. They also could have lost in the Final Four to Auburn. I can't quite remember how it transpired, but they were at least a Final Four team, largely in part to the performances of Jarrett Culver and 18.5 points per game in college, 46% from the field, 30% from three, something that you can work with, a lot worse than his first season there. But this was an exciting player with a lot of potential, super athletic, that Minnesota wanted to work with at 6 overall. There were probably plenty of teams who were interested in drafting him in that area. And he's a player that just hasn't panned out in the NBA so far. But now, seen in Raptors gear, obviously it does kind of look like the Memphis Grizzlies aren't too interested in working with him from a development standpoint. The Raptors, who you could arguably say are, you could really say are like the best at developing players. So maybe if the Raptors kind of work with him, can they find some of this potential that he maybe just hasn't quite fulfilled in the NBA? Well, this is the deal when it comes to Jarrett Culver. Obviously, he's a man who is lacking talent. I don't think at this point you can really talk about him being, 6 overall pick potential. This would be, something the Raptors would do. They've done this in the past. They've taken maybe a flyer on somebody who has untapped potential, seeing if they can unlock any of that. Most recently, I would say, what comes to mind is Stanley Johnson, I believe an 8th overall pick. The Raptors tried to work with him. Couldn't really get anything out of him. Eventually, they moved on from Stanley Johnson. But now, why is he wearing Raptors gear at this event? So what is the potential in the Raptors actually signing him? Well, the thing is, there are a variety of reasons why he could be seen wearing Raptors gear at this event. Maybe he was just playing on one of the Raptors teams in the scrimmage, so people gave him some stuff to wear. Maybe he still has some of his Raptors gear from a pre-draft workout only a few years ago. Maybe he just still has that with him for whatever reason. Maybe he just didn't have a shirt and he just borrowed it from somebody who was there. Maybe he forgot his stuff. There's a whole variety of reasons why he could be wearing Raptors gear other than him signing with the Raptors. And the reality is, with the current Toronto Raptors roster, it's completely full at the moment. That doesn't mean that somebody could get waived or anything, but I'm pretty sure if the Raptors were going to sign him, they probably wouldn't have sent him any year yet without actually making that roster spot for him, because Raptors right now, they have 19 players on contract. You're allowed to have 20 for your summer camp. The only guy of that 20 who is not on contract yet, who will be, is Christian Koloko, our 33rd overall pick in the most recent draft. That contract is going to happen eventually. There's no rush for that. There's nothing to worry about. It's going to happen eventually. Nothing to panic. Trust me, nothing to panic on this one. So that's 20. So unless, we're going to waive somebody else, unless we're going to waive like Svi Myhailiuk's contract, which I find unlikely to do like right now before really summer camp has kicked into gear, I find it very unlikely that we would be freeing up a roster spot for Jarrett Culver. Also, like, the reality is, like, I kind of like our depth this season. I'm a very big fan of our top 10. You've got your core 5 guys starting. I would say Precious Achiuwa, 6th man, part of our core at this point. You've also got Boucher, Thad, Otto Porter Jr. That's your 10 guys, which I really, really like. Other than that, there are some decent pieces here and there. Like, I'm still kind of wanting to work with Delano Banton. You've also got Malachi Flynn still on contract. Christian Koloko, your 33rd overall pick. Guys like Justin Champagnie, Kem Birch probably make the roster, but Juancho Hernan-Gomez on that guaranteed deal. He could also be within the roster replacing Justin Champagnie. I don't really see a spot for Jarrett Culver to really get himself invested in this and involved with that summer camp. It just seems extremely far-fetched to me. But, not that exciting either. This is a complete draft bust. I think it's very safe to say that after 3 seasons, it's a complete draft bust just wearing Raptors gear. Like, there's nothing really exciting. Even if the Raptors did sign him, there's nothing to really be truly excited about. It's just kind of cool, I guess. But the reality is here, this is very unlikely anything to do with Jarrett Culver being involved with the Raptors, nor would Jarrett Culver signing with the Raptors for summer really mean anything. I think he would very, very, very much struggle to make the Toronto Raptors final roster. I like seeing players succeed, so this is nothing against the person or the player in any way. Like, I'm not trying to slight the guy at all, but just the complete reality of this situation is just not very good at basketball. I'd love for him to get another opportunity in the NBA. see if he can find something, see if he can get that second NBA contract, because that is starting to look pretty unlikely here. But I don't think that opportunity is going to come with the Toronto Raptors. So that's all there is to it. It's a fun story, but nothing really, no real grounds for anything to actually happen here. So that is it for today on Amateur TV. Thank you so much for watching this one. Please, if you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like. It goes a long way to supporting the channel, because when you drop a like, it lets YouTube know that if you're enjoying this video, it'll find other people with similar interests to you and recommend it to them. The video shows up in more recommended pages. Only takes you a second, but does help me out a ton. And make sure for some more Raptors content, you're subscribed to Amateur TV and help us on the road to 2,000 subscribers. And also make sure you're subscribed to my main channel, Amateur Sports, at 11,000 subscribers. This is with different vibes, a little bit of a more informal, personable approach in this channel. That other one, Amateur Sports, a lot more formal and a lot more professional 3 times a week. So go check that one out as well. And just keep in mind, there are some big things coming with Amateur. I have an exciting project on the horizon, probably within the next month. Super excited to get that going. And I hope you guys are along for the ride. Stay tuned. I'll see you next time for another video on Amateur TV.